from that point on, did you get shots that you wanted and they just didn't go in, or
yeah, no, some. I mean, I can't remember when Key hit the three. That was a big hit. Couple drives, and he they switched everything, and ball screens off, ball screens. So you had to make some plays with the floor spaced, and we were unaware of the shot clock at times, and that was frustrating. But let's go to the last play. I mean, they missed that free throw. It was broken. We're like, if they miss it, attack, get to the rim. We're in the bonus, and I was hoping we could get into the lane and either get one up and rebound or flip it to Sam or someone trailing. But no, we didn't get great. I mean, they stepped up their defense just like, it comes down a lot of times to making plays late. You got to be able to bounce up, get a shot. Casey missed that separate shot. He had hurt on him. He had hit a couple of those. I think that was an okay shot. And they were, they just were skin tight. And there wasn't I'll look at the film. I wish we could have gotten a couple better looks and cleaned up some of the turnovers, or the block shots. There's just sometimes it's drawn and kicking and making the decision. But again, to not score the last 3 minutes was tough. I thought Jay, when he got the rebound, I thought there was one where he could have gone back up. I think he kicked it out. That's what because shots were hard to come by late.
If I can follow up, you've played a couple of opponents who have made a point of taking Jay and Sam out of the game. Did Duke do anything special against Trey Murphy tonight?
Again. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Just Trey only had 2 shots.
For sure. This was a game that wasn't create, catch, and shoot. They stayed at home, so you had to make some plays off the dribble. Kind of similar to, Florida State in some ways, but it was good to see Jay and Sam get some touches. Early they played Mark Williams, and then they subbed him, and they pretty much went interchangeable and small. And, Sam and Jay got some shots. Jay was in the post. Sam had to move, hit some tough shots. Kihei had to attack, but they were pretty tight on Trey, and he wasn't able to – we tried to move him and get some screens, and then we tried to use him to screen at times and flash and slip. But, that's something he's got to keep adding to his game. We got to keep trying to figure out ways to get him shots where he can either bounce and rise up. But, right now he really – if he's got space, he'll catch and shoot. We get back doors, maybe one dribbles, and, we needed everything down the stretch. You look at some of the breakdowns, you could have had that one, but you got to move on.
Coach, first time this season losing 2 games in a row. What's the message here as the regular season winds down?
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought I didn't like our first half for the most part offensively. We got good looks. I thought defensively, I don't know, at times we have to be so good in the important areas. We've talked about this. Hurt can shoot. I mean, we were kind of there. I mean, and they were tough shots, but then in the second half, we were really there, and he still hit a couple, but he didn't hit as many. And that has to be the moment that ball tips. We were back more in the second half and transition. The first half, and there just were some breakdowns that are going to happen, but those in tight games you can't afford. And I think it was pretty easy for them to score on us in the first half. And then we were better in the second half, but keep fighting. I mean, again, I said it after Florida State. All right, you hit some adversity. What are we going to learn and grow? We're going to grow from it and be ready to play, be ready to practice on Monday and ready to play on Wednesday.
Tony, Duke has obviously shot the ball an awful lot better these last 2 games than they have pretty much all season long. What did you see in some of their actions tonight or some of their motions that created some better shot opportunities for them?
Well, yeah, I think, Hurt is a special shooter, and you could see, he's Larry Bird-like in terms of where he puts the ball behind his head. You think you're there and you can't quite get to it. So at times we thought he was well guarded. I thought Casey, guarded that pull up on the baseline when we were up 3 pretty well. They hit some contested, well-guarded shots, and we didn't down the stretch. We hit some earlier. They got couple breakdowns, we blocked the shot, offensive rebounds, couple unfortunate plays, but I just thought they did what they did and they spread it out. And again, they were 9 of 23, not as in the second half from 3, weren't as good. And I think again, Hurt controlled some stuff, and then Roach had he made some plays for him down the stretch, and there's some tough matchups for Jay, but we had to have him on the floor with when they went small as far as his offense.
Okay, we'll go David Teal, Hank, and Bennett Conlon.
Tony, rare is the team that gets double-figure transition points against you. Duke had 14 tonight, fast break points. How would you assess your transition defense tonight?
I thought it was in the first half very, very poor. It was, again, it's easy to sit here, but it was an emphasis after the Florida State game. It's pretty much been an emphasis from our first day of practice because we know you got to eliminate defeat before you can be successful, and to give up, to be unalert or a lack of urgency or awareness when a shot goes up, and certain guys have responsibilities that you have to do your job at a high level. And when we kind of freeze or are lukewarm in those in games like this, that's all you look to. I mean, we should have, when we were back in set, we were pretty solid unless they hit, Hurts hitting those tough shots. But to give them some of those, and I'll look at the film and maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised, but I don't think so. Those will hurt. And all you do is you keep showing and you keep working at it. And if you don't understand now the significance of it, then I don't know if you ever will, that you got to be back and have a set defense to be successful.
That's the most points that Brakefield has scored in an ACC game this season. He had 11 tonight. Did he surprise you all?
He looked good against Wake Forest. I thought he was really good. And he's kind of, again, they're playing – he can shoot the three. He can drive. We're trying to find matchups. But, no, he's a good player. We tried to recruit him. He actually played on Reese's AAU team. And I saw him really starting to come. And, again, when they lost Johnson, now a guy like that knows I'm going to play. And, he played how many minutes here? Almost 30 minutes. And he played with some confidence. And he's a skilled kind of mismatch four, and made a couple big plays for him. And is just a kind of a handy player for sure.
Tony, this game had the feel of kind of a late round ACC tournament game or a late round ACC game. Lots of back and forth. Nobody led by a lot. How much value is that in for your guys?
Yeah, you're in it, and I wish we would have had Thomas. I think that hurt us. Again, that's not an excuse. He wasn't there. We could have used one more maybe to stretch the floor at times, but we had to make the most of it. And I think when you lose a game. And you talk about, okay, Florida State kind of, they knocked us out. We got back, but and we learned from that. But then you can really make a point like, if we want to be successful, these things that are in our control have to be shored up. And so it's always valuable to be in tight games. But plays have to be made, and we got to keep trying to work to get the right kind of shots and keep getting stops down the stretch. And we'll use it for good, for sure, because it was a back and forth. And, again, they made more plays.
How much did your guys demonstrate that they kind of got the message after Florida State as to what they have to do to play better in these stages, on these stages?
Better. I think better. But I still, in the first half, it's hard. It's hard to be really good defensively. It's hard, they're keen on certain guys. We don't have a ton of guys that can score at a high level, so we're trying to get shots. But so you got to be the better the games go, or the more the season goes on, it's just that margin of error gets smaller and smaller as we always talk about. So you can't just say, well, we'll bail ourselves out banging a bunch of threes, or we'll do this. No, I think we're learning those valuable lessons, and this one was certainly there. So I think they improved a little bit, but not enough to be successful. Close, but not quite.
Coach, moving forward, I guess, how do you prevent those defensive inconsistencies in terms of a half-by-half basis where it seems like maybe it varies every 20 minutes?
Sure does. We haven't been real sound defensively this year. Keep working at it, and at some point you got to decide. It's got to be, as you said, it's got to be in the mind, it's got to be in the heart, and you got to say, I'm going to lay it on the line. And it's not for a lack of working at it. I know that. So we keep working. Sometimes it's an alertness thing. Sometimes it's a lukewarm thing. I'm talking about to be as good as, we can and hitting on all cylinders, because your offense can come and go, but the defense can't have those lapses. The 14 transition points, that's concerning. And I'll look again on film and see where they were, but keep working on that. You won't be good teams if you're allowing a lot of transition points. I know that.